The SM-6 interceptor blasts upward at 2,400 miles per hour. Seconds later, a fuse triggers. A cloud of tungsten shrapnel rips outward, absolutely shredding a fiberglass target 3 meters away. But the cheers inside the Combat Information Center die after exactly 1 second. The radar screen isn't clearing, it's filling up. One kill means nothing when 999 more are right behind it. Iranian forces are leading with dirt-cheap tech. 1,000 drones, each under $20,000, scream across the water. On their own, a total joke. But together, they form a physical wall of static, built to blind the most advanced fleet on Earth. The Aegis combat system tracks hundreds of targets. Processors are melting down at maximum capacity, but the horizon stays black with incoming shapes. Then comes the hit. One single drone, barely the size of a kitchen table, slips right through the defensive net. It slams straight into the Spy 1 radar array, right on the bridge of a lead destroyer. The impact looks tiny, a quick pop of fire and twisted plastic, but the ship's primary radar face is fully cracked. The billion-dollar warship is suddenly half-blind inside a kill zone. And as the destroyer reels from the hit, something else detaches from the seabed. Hiding under that drone swarm, Iran deployed Gadier-class mini-subs. They've sat on the sandy Gulf floor for weeks, just waiting for the carrier group to cross one very specific GPS line. A high-pitched whine blasts through sonar headsets. Torpedo in the water. The destroyer fires back with Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes. One mini-sub cracks open like an egg, its hull instantly imploding under the crushing pressure of the blast. But the second sub already dropped its payload. 2 heavyweight torpedoes streak toward the carrier escorts at 50 miles per hour. The destroyer commander has no time for a clean lock. They fire off a spread of NULA active decoys. These rockets hover mid-air, perfectly mimicking the massive electronic signature of a warship. The torpedoes get confused. One wildly veers off, detonating against an empty patch of ocean. The second torpedo takes a mid-run hit from the defense system. A solid slug smashes the warhead dead on. We are trading expensive, high-tech precision for cheap, mass-produced violence. The enemy is highly rational. They know they can never out-tech the United States, so they plan to outspend us in blood and lead. But the carrier group does not retreat. Instead, the engines of the USS Gerald R. Ford surge. The massive carrier and its escorts steam straight toward the Iranian coast. To commanders watching the radar, it looks like a flat-out suicide run. They watch the carrier enter the narrowest choke point of the Strait of Hormuz. The water is shallow here, the shoreline packed with hidden batteries. Miles deep beneath the Zagros Mountains, the earth begins to shift. Massive hydraulic lifts groan hard under the weight of solid iron. Welcome to the missile cities, a brutal tunnel network carved miles into bedrock, hiding 4,000 ballistic missiles. The Fate 110 is the absolute workhorse here, a solid fuel missile that strikes its target with scalpel-like precision from 180 miles out. Their combat doctrine is brutally simple total saturation dominance. They plan to turn the Persian Gulf into a graveyard of sinking steel. They are just waiting for the carrier to hit the dead zone. That ultimate point of no return where shore batteries boast a 100% kill probability. Time is the second enemy. Under the War Powers Act, the clock reads day 59, 23 hours, and 45 minutes. Honestly, the Iranians know American law better than most Americans. They think that in 15 minutes, the U.S. military is legally forced to stand down. Tehran is already filming their victory broadcasts. They think they won the political war without firing a single heavy missile, but they haven't heard the B-1B Lancer. Cruising high above the clouds, totally out of reach from Iranian air defenses, the heavy bomber opens its internal bays. It is not carrying traditional gravity bombs, it's hauling the Dark Eagle. The Dark Eagle is a long-range hypersonic weapon. It moves at over 3,800 miles per hour, way faster than a rifle bullet. That covers the distance from New York to Washington in under 4 minutes. Conventional radar is blind to it because the plasma absorbs radio waves. Even if they saw it, no interceptor on Earth could catch it. That blinded destroyer from earlier, the one that took the drone strike, suddenly blasts a massive, unencrypted electronic signal. The Iranians swallow the bait whole. They light up their primary targeting radars, locking onto the wounded ship to finish the job. Here is the massive second twist. That blind ship is a ghost. It's just an empty hull, a giant remote-controlled decoy. The real crew evacuated hours ago. By turning on their radars to kill it, they just revealed the exact GPS coordinates of every air vent and geological hinge in their underground missile cities. Up above, the F-35C Lightning II's sensors grab every signal. They map out the entire mountain. They spot the weak spots where the granite fractures. They find the air vents pumping oxygen to the 4,000 troops hiding deep underground. They just handed us the keys to the front door. The Dark Eagle missiles drop. They ignore the bunker doors. Those are 20 feet of solid steel backed by pure concrete. Instead, these hypersonic bolts target the mountain peaks directly. The air literally screams as the Dark Eagle hits the lower atmosphere. A straight vertical drop at 5 times the speed of sound. 6 Dark Eagles strike all at once. The impact hits like a runaway freight train, slamming a brick wall. Except this wall is 500 feet of solid granite. The mountain just folds in on itself. 500,000 tons of rock slide down in a massive, choking dust cloud. The bunker exits disappear under a permanent wall of crushed rock. Those 4,000 missiles survive. They sit right there on the launch pads, totally intact, but they are sealed off behind 200 feet of broken earth. The missile cities just turned into tombs. Iranian commanders can only stare at their screens as every single camera goes completely black. Not dead, but completely taken off the board. They are trapped inside that mountain with no exit and zero way to launch. But as the dust settles, a fresh alarm blares inside the carrier's command center. Crushing the mountain worked for the known bunkers, but a hidden hatch we missed is sliding open on the coast near Bandar Abbas. A Shahab 3 medium-range missile rises, but this one looks different. The nose cone is painted with bright orange stripes. High value, likely a non-conventional payload. It is the regime's desperate last move to save face, and our B-1B Lancer is totally out of position. The destroyers are tied up fighting off the leftover drone swarm. The Shahab 3 ignites, locked straight onto the USS Gerald R. Ford. If that rocket hits peak altitude and starts its final dive, stopping it becomes almost completely impossible. It would crash down with the force of a falling asteroid. Off the carrier deck, 2 F-35C Lightning stealth fighters get catapulted into the sky. They fly like silent ghosts. Their internal bays snap open, showing the AIM-120D AMRAAM. This is a boost phase intercept, hands down the hardest move in aerial warfare. These pilots must tag a rising rocket while it is still moving somewhat slowly, right before it hits the edge of space. The F-35C pilots use their electro-optical targeting system to track the Shahab 3's engine heat. The missile leaves the rail. It streaks straight up, slicing right through the yellow smoke. The weapon punches the rocket's fuel tank right as it clears 30,000 feet. A massive secondary blast rips through the sky as tons of liquid fuel ignite at once. That final gasp turns into burning aluminum raining harmlessly into the sea. The air threat is dead, but the Iranians hold one last surface card near the Strait of Hormuz. A huge swarm of Zulfagar fast attack boats pours out from coastal sea caves. These guys are the literal mosquitoes of the Gulf. They are 40 feet long, hit 70 miles per hour, and carry heavy Kausar anti-ship missiles. They cut in a zigzag pattern, making it totally impossible for the destroyer's 5-inch guns to lock on. They are closing the gap fast. 5 miles, 4 miles. They are already inside the minimum range for our heavy missiles. Up from the carrier's hangar deck, 4 MH-60R Sea Hawk choppers lift off. They are absolutely packed with Hellfire missiles. The choppers hover super low, using the ocean spray to mask their heat signatures. A Hellfire leaves the rail with a quiet whoosh. It strikes the lead boat dead in the engine block. The vessel just disintegrates at 70 miles per hour. The crew and their missiles vanish in a brutal spray of salt and fire. The Sea Hawks carve through that swarm like reapers. In just 4 minutes, 16 boats become burning wrecks. The mosquitoes are officially swatted. The surface threat is extinct. That Iranian arsenal is toast. But we aren't done yet. The threat isn't just those missiles. It is the economy that fuels them. With boat debris still raining down, the B-1B Lancer fleet drops Wave 2, the AGM-158 stealth cruise missiles. Skimming waves at 550 miles per hour, they hug the water, totally invisible to shoreline radar. The target is Car Island. This right here is the beating heart of Iran's oil industry. 80% of their national cash flows through this tiny patch of land. We don't strike the worker camps. We hit the pump stations. We drop every single bridge connecting that island back to the mainland. In exactly 120 seconds, the regime's lifeblood is severed. The Iranian economy is left bleeding out on the operating table. They have 0 missiles left to return fire, and now they have no money to buy replacements. In an instant, the Iranian coastline goes black. A targeted strike by the MALDJ, the miniature air-launched decoy jammer. These tiny drones circled Tehran's air defense headquarters for an hour, faking the radar signatures of massive heavy bomber wings. Terrified Iranian operators just spent an hour firing their S-400 missiles at ghosts. They burned through their entire inventory, shooting at empty sky. Right then, the drones flip from decoy mode to jamming. Blasting out gigawatts of raw electronic noise, they completely fry Iran's delicate command and control networks. The whole military instantly goes deaf and blind. They are just isolated units now, totally cut off, unable to talk to command or track the enemy closing in. While their troops scramble to fix dead radios, a pitch-black, low-flying MH-60M Black Hawk hovers inches above the Bushehr nuclear reactor's perimeter. Special ops hit the dirt, moving fast with cutting torches and silent drills. For 6 months, they rehearsed this exact breach on a full-scale mock-up in the Nevada desert. They slip right past guards, still staring blankly at dead phones and totally dark monitors. The objective here is seizure, not destruction. Deep inside, the team locates the heavily guarded, enriched uranium containers. They are taking this nuclear material off the board permanently. The final strike tonight is not a missile launch. It is the heavy, metallic click of a lead-lined container locking shut inside that waiting helicopter. The enriched uranium is physically gone. That nuclear shield they thought made them untouchable vanished. As dawn breaks over the Persian Gulf, the brutal transformation is already complete. The massive drone swarm is just sinking plastic. Those legendary missile cities, now silent tombs crushed beneath millions of tons of solid rock. Car Island is a smoking crater, its massive oil pumps frozen forever. At the 60-minute mark, the blockade is completely shattered. The Iranian Navy is nothing but burning fiberglass. The entire geography of the Persian Gulf has been rewritten. The Strait of Hormuz is wide open. But wait, there is one terrifying detail about the Dark Eagle nobody mentions. Everyone assumes a killer missile needs a massive explosive warhead to do damage. The Dark Eagle does not. In fact, the strikes that collapsed those mountains did not even use gunpowder. Its devastating power comes from pure kinetic energy. When a weapon that heavy slams into the Earth at Mach 5 over 3,800 miles per hour, the impact alone triggers a localized earthquake. Just think about the math there. A solid metal rod slamming a mountain at that speed packs the exact same punch as a tactical nuke, just without the radiation and without the messy fallout. That weapon that just buried 4,000 launchers, it weaponized the Earth itself against them. If they can literally move mountains and seal an entire army alive inside their own bunkers without 1 ounce of explosives, what else can they hit?